you can see that this is really going international. So going forward, we expect much more international participants in the product. So now starts already the outlook. So where do we see our customers going and therefore pushing us? The first point is that our customers ask us to ensure that they get access to as many central banks as possible. So we are in a discussion with a lot of central banks around the globe to find solutions how our customers can mobilize their assets into the central banks. Because imagine in an environment, especially for a global player, where you need to put in each and every location collateral, you will have a lot of excess collateral around. The opportunity cost behind that is enormous. We have done very conservative calculations and shown them to our customers. This is 2-digit million numbers per year for a global player. They all confirmed to us that this number is maybe way too low that we calculated as potential opportunity cost. This is why we're talking to the central bank. Second topic is we're talking to CCPs more and more, because they're also getting more and more business, becoming more and more important. So we're trying to build connections to CCP. And the last point, this is something which is a lesson learned for us as an organization, where happily we took a certain decision already in 2005. This is the role of collateral agents. Because in the past, and this is true I think for all the collateral agents, they offered a product to say, bring the assets to me, I have it in custody, I serve you in collateral management. Now, in the global world, we cannot expect that all the assets are coming to either Euroclear or Clearstream or to any other provider. They will sometimes also for legal reasons stay in the local environment. This is very important. Now, in that sense, we have changed our strategy to say we want to offer still collateral services to those local markets, but respecting that the collateral sits in the local market. And therefore also contribute through then a potential virtual collateral pool to lower the opportunity cost of the usage of collateral in the markets. Now, I've brought one example, and with this I will almost finish, which is this one. This is the first cooperation we have done in that respect outside of our home markets. It's a cooperation with the largest CSD of corporate bonds and OTC derivatives in South America with CETIP in Brazil. So what will happen in the cooperation, which is going to go live middle of next year, is that we are going to provide collateral services on the assets that are sitting in the Brazilian market. So CETIP, our partner, will be the face to the customer. They will deliver the service to the customer, but in the background we will make available all our tri-party functions so that we help the market to provide this kind of service. All the assets will be under Brazilian law, so we're not forcing anything into the international environment. The beauty about it is that at a certain point, once the Brazilian environment is ready to accept international collateral, it can be provided with the same technology. And this is exactly the asset optimization, the lowering of opportunity cost in the area of collateral that we are targeting. Now, I still have a promise open to tell you how you can learn more about the topic. And to admit it's a bit of advertising. For 15 years in a row, we run a conference in Luxembourg on the area of global liquidity management, where we have, in general, in the meantime, more than 500, 600 participants coming to Luxembourg. Those are experts from the industry, repo, securities lending, treasurers, central bankers, regulators. And you're more than welcome to join for that event, which is happening in the middle of January in Luxembourg. Thank you very much.
Halfway through this presentation, so I'll try to keep going. I would like to speak to you about some of the issues that ICMA's European Repo Council are focused on, and in particular the review of the GMRA 2000. It works. So the Global Master Repurchase Agreement, the GMRA, has for many years been the foremost agreement for documenting cross-border repo transactions. And you've heard that many times said by many people today. ICMA's European Repo Council felt it was very important that this continues to be the case, and so put together a working group of market participants to review the agreement. I think you'll agree it's probably testament to the agreement's success that it's been 10 years since we last endeavoured to do this. Over the last year, the meeting group, which is made up of both legal practitioners as well as market participants, has considered various factors, including lessons learned from the crisis, again a key phrase that I've heard a number of people use today. Let's hope we do actually learn some lessons. Amendments made to other master agreements, for example the GMSLA, the Securities Lending Agreement, of which a revised version was published earlier this year, and also the MRA, which is currently under review, the American Standard New York Law Documented Agreement. Also bilateral feedback of GMRA users. We gleaned these issues from either bilateral feedback of members coming to speak to us about their experience of using the GMRA through our legal help desk, or from feedback we received from the ERC committee and our discussions with them. Finally, the recommendations of the European Financial Market Lawyers Group, the EFMLG. We've heard mentioned this morning the importance of harmonisation, and that's something that the EFMLG have focused very hard on. So, to give you a flavour of the specific amendments being considered, proposals have included the following. And I will get slightly technical here, I apologise for that, but if you just follow in terms of the concepts, rather than to focus on the actual clauses. So 10A2 of the GMRA treats a failure to deliver purchase securities on the purchase date or to redeliver equivalent securities on the repurchase date as an event of default. Discussion on this clause debated the merits of hardwiring this into the agreement so that it would always be an event of default if you failed to deliver securities. Now, looking around the room, I'm not sure what the reaction would be to that, but certainly within the working group, we felt that that wasn't necessarily the correct position. The merits of doing so relating to risk mitigation can be counterbalanced with the dangers of creating systemic risk where operational failures occur. The conclusion of the working group, therefore, was that this should remain as an elective clause, which could be elected where you are either concerned about counterparty risk or credit risk. In relation to the default provisions of the GMRA, a number of revisions have been considered, and I guess this is where the focus of the review sat, for obvious reasons. Under the GMRA currently, the appointment of certain officials will trigger an event of default, as in the other master agreements. It is a challenge to find appropriate wording which adequately covers concepts across jurisdictions. Whilst most other master agreements contain catch-all wording, and that includes the GMRA 2000, it is proposed that the revised standard GMRA includes references to conservators and custodians in order to harmonise the agreement with the ISDA. So again, that harmonisation point becoming very important as an area of focus in the review. It is also proposed that the active insolvency definition in the GMRA is amended to incorporate an additional event. So here we widen a counterparty's ability to call an event of default under the active insolvency definition. The additional event is that a secured party may take possession of or carry out other enforcement measures in relation to all or substantially all assets of a party, provided the relevant process is not dismissed within 30 days. Again, for those of you who are familiar with ISDA documentation, you will note that that's a very similar clause to what's in the ISDA Master Agreement. So those are just to give you a flavour of the sorts of things we're looking at. One thing I've heard mentioned a couple of times today is cross-default. Now, this was the most contentious topic which we looked at within the review working group. Many hours of debate and argument and backwards and forwards. And I think we could probably rehearse all of those arguments here today quite adequately. Arguments again relating to risk mitigation are pitched against arguments that such a clause undermines the strength of the repo agreement. Repos are typically short-term and adequately collateralized. We've taken this very contentious topic to ICMA's European Repo Committee for their view. So one step up from the working group and into the executive arm of what we regard as representative of the repo community, certainly in Europe. And they were very clear. They were very clear that cross-default should not sit within the GMRA. It is not appropriate for that provision to be in the new standard GMRA. So, well exclusive there, you know that that's not coming into the revised agreement. So, with regard to the next steps, the aim is to publish the revised agreement towards the end of this year, early next year, but certainly in time for the publication of the 2011 ICMA GMRA legal opinions. The working group presented a draft agreement reflecting their discussions to the ERC committee at its meeting in September, with a request that the committee provide their feedback on the commercial viability of the product. It remains and continues to remain a very important focus that this is a commercially viable process. We haven't just taken the agreement into a room full of lawyers and come up with some drafting. It reflects the commercial requirements of the market. The working group is now currently working through the final draft, and as I said, this will be published early next year alongside the GMRA legal opinions. We will be delighted to keep the NSMA, and indeed any of you who are interested, updated on the progress of this project. And on that note, those are my contact details. Please do feel free to contact me if you have any questions regarding the GMRA, any standard, 92, 95, 2000, but in particular the GMRA review. Thank you very much.
I will say that all the participants stay here all day today and tomorrow, so we will all have a possibility to discuss with such interesting people. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you again for all the participants, and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Уважаемые коллеги,